It feels like everything sucks these days. Modern architecture, modern art, and the worst of all, modern web development. What about ThinkPads? I mean, these are the original OG anti-Macs, the heroes of the internet, the digital gonads kryptonite. And we all love their military style, durability, repairability, and upgradability. I myself, I've been using ThinkPads for more than 10 years. My first ThinkPad I used in the bank when I was a bankster, and I've since recovered. I've atoned for my sins. But even the T440p from 2013, I still use that as a network attached storage device all these years on. Believe it or not, it was the upgradability that future-proofed that laptop. And even now, honestly, if I wanted to, I could still use it as my daily driver. Then there were others. Later, I got the T480, also known as the last great ThinkPad. Along with the T480, I tried a bunch of other ThinkPads, like the ThinkPad Carbon. I had the Gen 9 and the Gen 10, which were okay relative to the e-waste like MacBooks, but overall, they did represent a step in the wrong direction. But what about in 2026? It's February 2026. Well, this week, my ThinkPad P1 Gen 8 arrived. And if you are looking at the T1G, which is the equivalent machine, it's the same one. It's just that here I'm running a professional Blackwell Pro GPU, and the T1G, it runs with a 50 series consumer GPU. So everything here is still applicable, just that you can get the T1G with the 5060 or the 5070. So let's have a look at the machine. It's a powerful machine. It's got the Intel Ultra 7255H processor. That's the Arrow Lake line. And in my configuration, I got 32 gig of RAM, the LP Cam 2, that is 8,533 megatransfers per second for the nerds. And you can actually get up to 64 gigabyte. And the cool thing is this is replaceable. Now, I got a 1 terabyte Gen 5 SSD, and I installed another Gen 4 drive after the fact that I had lying around. Now, the motherboard only supports Gen 4 speeds, so that's why I went. But funnily enough, when I was ordering the machine on the website, the Gen 5 SSD was actually cheaper marginally than the Gen 4. Okay, so I mentioned already it's got RTX Pro 2000 Blackwell mobile GPU that's running at 75 watts, and it's got a 3.2K tandem matte OLED panel. This OLED panel is touchscreen. I don't know when you would use touch, but it is a beautiful screen, up to 1500 nits. It's got a 90 watt hour battery. It's got a haptic touchpad. It rolls with Thunderbolt 5, Wi-Fi 7. So overall, this is a really, really top spec machine. And of course, the price is going to reflect that. I'll get onto that a little bit later. So let's kind of go through the review. The first thing I want to touch on is the build quality and the aesthetic. And the build quality is actually awesome. I know that in years gone by, it's been a bit of a mixed bag with Lenovo. The ThinkPad line, a lot of people say, it depends. Sometimes they come out great, sometimes not. But this one is a really tough machine. It feels super solid. It feels like everything has been packed into this chassis and it has practically no give. But it is kind of heavyish, just a little bit over 2 kilos. Mind you, for myself, I don't care about that so much because I'm 90 kilos and 6'2" myself. So 2 kilos is fine. But for smaller people, our smaller friends, maybe that's a little on the heavy side. Now the screen, just thinking about the aesthetic and the build quality, this is really one of the highlights here. People mention that I've seen on some of the I've seen on some of the forums that people say that the OLED has a grainy look. I haven't experienced that at all. I've been using this for about a week now, and it's just a wonderful screen, especially for productivity and also content creation and even gaming. And I'll show you a bit of that later. Still got that physical camera shutter, and it's just overall an excellent build quality. I would say that it is just as good as my T480 or T440p. Of course, they've come a long way with respect to packing it into a smaller space, but I definitely don't feel like there's been a big fall in terms of the quality. Mind you, as we mentioned, it's an expensive laptop. Now, the next thing I want to touch on is Linux, because actually this laptop is Ubuntu and Red Hat certified. Now, I don't use Ubuntu. I do use Fedora sometimes, but actually in the case of this machine, I've gone ahead, I've got a dual booted setup. So I put Windows LTSC on there, and more importantly, I put CachyOS. And CachyOS has been really awesome. Specifically, I'm running with the custom Linux kernel 16.18.8-3. That's the CachyOS current version. And this out of the box, I can tell you guys right now, this is 2026 is the year of the Linux desktop.
You sure about that? You sure about that?
This actually runs better with Linux, and you'll have a better time on Linux than using Windows on this laptop. And that just kind of speaks to the fact you should be on Linux already. It runs beautifully. Even NVIDIA, and I put that down to perhaps a lot of the fact that NVIDIA, because of their big AI boom, so NVIDIA's attitudes towards its open source and its drivers on Linux has dramatically changed from a few years ago. And so even the NVIDIA card works flawlessly. So Linux, I've actually experienced better battery life on Linux, which is the next thing I wanted to touch on. I'm getting about 5 to 6 hours. So for me, I would say about a full day's work. But I guess for some people out there, a full day's work is more like 10 hours. If you're used to working on a MacBook, you're definitely not going to get 20 hours or whatever they advertise. But I did notice considerably better performance on Linux when using CachyOS than when I was on Windows. I found that the battery drained a lot, whereas on CachyOS, even with a lot of productivity use, with dozens of tabs open, with compiling code, with writing, browsers, video, I was still at least getting, 6 hours, which for me is absolutely reasonable. And the keyboard and trackpad is still good. I mean, even ThinkPad versions like T480 and the T440p, they use the chiclet style. And so the old school boomer ThinkPad enthusiasts, they miss the 7 row, and I can understand that. So the keyboard I would actually say is just as good as the T480 if you have the light on, but it still probably pales in comparison to those old school 7 row keyboards. Nevertheless, it's still ridiculously good, and it beats every other laptop on the market. And I love the fact that it's actually centered. So you've got your trackpad and keyboard centered. This is the main reason that I never got a P16, because of that ridiculous number pad on the right, and everything is just thrown off. The aesthetic is ruined, but not just the aesthetic, more importantly, the whole use, you're just slightly to the left of where you should be. It just kind of annoys me. And I never got that for that reason. But in the case of the P1 Gen 8 and the P1 series, generally they do have that, and I like the look of that. It's got the haptic trackpad. It's good enough. It's also still got that nipple, but it's missing the physical keys. Now, I don't use the nipple, but if you're a fan of the physical keys and the nipple, that's going to be a consideration. Now, when it comes to upgradability and repairability, getting into the machine is super easy. And there is a cool thing about this machine, which is the fact that the USB ports are replaceable. So they're not actually directly soldered onto the motherboard. And this means that they can be replaced after the fact. This is quite a cool thing further on down the track. Obviously, I'm hoping that this isn't going to fail on me in the next few years, but it still speaks to Lenovo's attitude towards repairability. If you compare that to Mac, it's obviously streets ahead. And when we compare it to, say, more contemporary ThinkPad models, even say the T14, the last few generations, well, it's pretty much on par. You can swap out the RAM, you can swap out the SSDs, you've got access to everything. If you wanted to, you could probably change the screen. I'm sure that if you're a skilled technician, you've got access to a lot of things. But as usual, the process is soldered on. It is what it is. Now, audio, it's like incredible. It's like I'm using a MacBook. The last thing that I would say MacBooks have is kind of that the battery life and then the audio, but the audio on this is just as good in my experience. Performance, fan noise, gaming. Okay, so the single core performance on Geekbench for this, which is the Ultra 7 255H, is about 2800, and the multi-core is about 17,000. It's pretty comparable to an M4 MacBook Pro that I unfortunately had to use for work for much of 2025. But the gaming performance and also if for video rendering is actually excellent. I'm going to put on some Stalker 2. I'm not hardcore gamer myself. I like to get outdoors at the end of the day, but this is running with medium settings and 3.2K resolution. And as you can see, it's really, really playable at that rate. Okay, so what about value for money? Because this came in at about 3,500 American pesos. And this is about 10 times, if you think about it, what a T480 would cost, even assuming that you upgraded all the RAM to 64 gig, and then you got upgraded NVMe SSD, and you upgraded the screen, you upgraded the heatsink. Okay, so it's still way more expensive than that. And to be fair, this is a premium laptop, but it is a fair amount of money. So if you are going to buy one, definitely keep your eyes on the constant sales for Lenovo. In my case, I got around about a 30% discount off the listed price on the website. So who is it for? Okay, for me, I didn't experience any immediate post-purchase dissonance, which is a good sign because it is a big ticket icon for me. Ultimately, this laptop would be perfect for someone who is a power user, they need mobility, they might be moving from Mac OS or they're tired of Windows and they want to run Linux, and someone who does a bit of creative work and also might enjoy a bit of casual gaming. But my line of work is engineering. I work in engineering, IT security consulting. So a laptop like this is a tax write-off, and it's also necessary for me to get things done. Especially that screen and keyboard are just incredible when you're working from a hotel in Beijing or a yacht in the Mediterranean. This is the kind of thing that you really want, and it justifies itself. But if you just use your laptop for browsing the web, a bit of development, a bit of writing, if you don't use it for creative work or any kind of modern gaming titles, then save your shekels and get yourself a T480, or even get yourself, say, a T14 Gen 4 or Gen 5. They're good value for money. You can buy them used. And then in a few years, you can go pick up a P1 Gen 8 or a T1G for cents on the dollar, because I would say this is an excellent machine and I plan to use it for a long time. I think it's a massive step up on the previous generation, and it is streets ahead of a lot of the competition overall. There are a few things that I miss, like the WWAN slot for the mobile SIM. And while it's got an SD card reader, it's only got one USB port, a standard USB port rather than the USB-C, and I would kill for another one because a lot of my peripherals are using USB, the standard USB. But still, once again, it really highlights how bad MacBooks are, because if you think about the port selection on them, it's just absolutely terrible. Okay, so what about the T480? Never fear. See, the T480 supports Core Boot. With the upgrades I made to it, you can check out my video on it. It's an incredible machine for development, browsing the web, writing. So stay tuned for a video where I'm going to put actually Libreboot on that. I'm going to do a tutorial on that, and it's going to be my secondary machine. It's going to be for when I'm traveling and when I'm on adventures and that kind of thing. It's still a beautiful laptop. And I would say that in 2026, ThinkPads is still great. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.